At the time that I'm recording this, there is about a week and a half left of school. As a homeschool mom, the end of school means just as much freedom for me as it does for my son. And we're both really looking forward to summer. My reading for May went really well. I started off with The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. It was not quite what I expected. I did make a review already, and I mentioned it in my other video, When Nothing Is Happening. I thought it was going to be more of an epic fantasy, and I get the feeling that it is going to be more epic and larger scale through the second and third books. This one was not heavy on the plot, and in a lot of places wasn't heavy on the action either. It was a lot more atmospheric, like let's make the reader feel like they are living in a Viking fantasy life. There's a lot of things described in here. The scenery, the clothing, the appearance of each character, the food. And so I often felt like I needed some of my fresh baked bread and a glass of mead while I was reading this. And while reading this one, for the first time, I tried filming a reading vlog, which I've never done before. It was actually a little hard to get times to just pick up my phone and film after I had done some reading. To film these videos, I have specific times of day set aside for these. For a reading vlog, I wanted it to be a little more real time, like I just read some chapters, now I'll talk about it, which worked okay. It was fine. Once I edit it together, I'll see how it went. I just filmed it on my phone, and I used this little lapel mic here. And as of right now, I still have not filmed the last bit after finishing this. For one reason and another, mostly sickness, which I thought the last time I got sick would be the last time for the season, but no. My son got sick, me and my husband got sick, but I did write down my thoughts in my notes app. So when I go to finally make the final clip talking about the end of the book, I'll be able to remember the thoughts I had as I was reading it. And then depending on how that one does, I'll see about doing vlogs more often. And in my last wrap-up video, I said that after this I would mood read, and I had just been to Powell's, and after this I felt like reading The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I also just filmed my review for this, which I think is coming out before this video. It takes place in the northern part of the Indian Ocean, up in the Arabian Sea area. The main character, Amina, is an older mom, not super old, older than me, I think in her 40s. And after a long career at sea, she gets pregnant and goes to retire in the jungle to raise her daughter and have a peaceful life for the sake of her daughter. And then a rich old lady comes and says, hey, come do this job for me and I'll pay you a whole bunch of money. And so Amina, feeling torn between staying with her daughter and making enough money to make her daughter comfortable for the rest of her life, as well as being drawn back to the sea which calls to her, she chooses to go. And it follows her on her adventures. It's a historical fantasy, so it takes place in the real world in the 12th century, but with magic. Fantasy creatures, an evil wizard, sorcerer, whatever, that she has to fight against. In my review, I said it felt like a mix between the Pirates of the Caribbean and Arabian Nights. So imagine the high seas adventure with kind of an Aladdin feel. Not Disney's Aladdin, the actual Arabian Nights Aladdin. This one was really fun. I enjoyed it. And then my other reading this month has been a little on the weird side. I'm actually already like a third of the way through A Crown of Swords, except I've mostly been listening to the audiobook while I crochet a blanket for someone who probably doesn't watch these videos, but just in case. I won't say who or how I know them, but crocheting is one of those things where your hands are busy. I'm doing a simple pattern so I don't have to think too hard or like count stitches, and so I just put on my Wheel of Time book and crochet, and it's been really pleasant. And from what I understand, this is the beginning of what's known as the slog in this series, and so instead of spending my time reading the words on the page, just having it play in the background while I do other stuff has been really nice. I've also been listening to it while I drive, while I do dishes, laundry, all the boring stuff. And then the weirder part of what I'm reading, I've been reading only the Bridge 4 chapters from The Way of Kings. I'm not one of those people who only reads the point of view chapters from the character I like and skips the rest, but my patrons already know this because I posted on Patreon. They also get to see my videos a day early, but a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and it seems like the perfect time to make it because of book 5 coming out at the end of this year, is a evolution of Bridge 4 video through the first 4 books. To me, Bridge 4 is probably my favorite part about The Way of Kings. It is one of my favorite parts of the Stormlight Archive, but it has been a long time since I've read these. I cannot make this video on memory alone. So I'm reading just the Bridge 4 chapters, which is really hard. My plan was just to kind of skim them to refresh my memory, but it's really hard to skim. I do really enjoy these books, and it's really tempting to just keep reading. And then when the chapter gets from Bridge 4 to just following Kaladin off to doing whatever he's doing, I want to follow Kaladin. But I've read it before. I know what he's doing. I just need to read Bridge 4. So here's how far I've gotten. Over halfway through the first book. Then there are 3 more after this. I'm a little worried about being able to make this video before the next book comes out. Not that it has to come out before that book, but I also think it would be a really good refresher video for people before reading that 5th one. Like, where is Bridge 4 right now? As far as what I'm reading in June, I'll be finishing up A Crown of Swords, working on my Bridge 4 chapters. And I think I'd finally like to get to A Wizard of Earthsea, which has been on my shelf since January. It's not very long. It'll be a good in-between book between bigger fantasy books. And I just want to read it. I've been wanting to for a while. So, A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. And then I will be wanting to read Defiant, the 3rd book in the Songs of Chaos by Michael R. Miller. I need to read this before getting the arc for book 4, which I don't think is close enough that I need to, like, stress about getting to this, but close enough that I should read it in the next couple months, probably. And The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. The end of the first one had this big epic thing happen, something that you could probably expect to happen based on the cover art, but it didn't happen till the very end. So now I'm gonna need to get into here to see what happens next, and the 3rd book comes out in October. So again, in the next couple months or so, I'll need to get this one started. I say need. It's not like I have to read the next one as soon as it comes out, but, you know, I wanna. And then, depending on when it arrives, and if I have time in June, I will probably read Stone and Sky by the name that I forgot to pull up ahead of time, Z.S. Diamante. The PA for Michael Miller, author of Songs of Chaos, recently took on Diamante as well and asked if I would be interested in reading his first book, which humorously I had seen him around on Instagram and seen his books being posted by other people recently, thought it looked interesting, and so when she asked me, I was like, yeah, I would love to. That one will be less dragony from what I understand and be more Griffin and Wyvern, which if you know, oh, can I say that? Is it a spoiler? Do I care? One of the dragon books that I read last year for my series that I don't plan on finishing also has griffins and wyverns, but I have a feeling that this one is going to be more my style, more up my alley, and so I look forward to seeing how the story goes in this one. Also, something else that I've been doing recently is when I do a review of a book, I've been trying to make sure I remember to add the author's website or social media or whatever I can find of them, and then the cover artist. I like to give them some recognition for the hard work that they do, because when you're thinking of a book, shopping for a book, content creators posting what they're reading, what you see is the cover. The cover art can make someone want to read it or go, no, that doesn't look interesting. So if you watch my reviews, you might just look in the descriptions and check out those artists. See what kind of other work they do. Go support them also. Let me know what you're planning on reading, and I hope you have a great reading month. Happy reading. Bye.